here at NTS Design Co. I come live with you guys every Wednesday at 10 a.m. to do some fun Dixie Belle stuff. Right now, I am trying to get my camera situated because I can never tell where it needs to be when I'm trying to go live. So as you guys are popping on, say hello. Let me know that you're here. I'm just going to go ahead and fiddle with this guy so I can see what you guys are seeing, and so you can see what I'm doing today. So today we're going to have some fun. Yeah, perfect. Now you guys can see me. Awesome. All right. So I am going to be playing with a canvas today. And so I actually am super excited about this project. I am in the process of redoing every single thing in my home. You ever get that like whim where you're like, I don't like anything in my house and I want to redo it all? So that's where I'm at. And that's super expensive, right? Like you definitely don't want to like replace everything in your home, but you can definitely upcycle stuff in your home. And so what I decided to do was upcycle this canvas. This canvas was an ocean scene, and it said, seek the unknown. And it had like a little bird and like an oceanscape and all of the beautiful things. Good morning. How are you? Thank you for popping on. I can't read your name from here because I'm half blind, but I'm so sorry. I can't see it. Mary, I think probably from Boston. Thank you. Hey, hey. Thank you for popping on. I appreciate you guys so much. So I'm not talking to myself. That's always amazing. I love it when people are on with me. So anyway, this is just a little canvas that I got from Ross for like, I don't know, like $8, $9, something crazy like that. It had a beautiful ocean scene on it. My theme in my house is not beachy anymore. And I wanted to redo something. Good morning. Thank you for watching. So what I did is I painted it black, which is like my favorite color. I painted this in the chalk mineral line in Midnight. Now, the reason why I painted it black is because I wanted my background for my decoupage paper to be darker, because you can do that. So here's the thing. When you're decoupaging, if you paint your background white, your paper is going to be lighter. If you want it to be darker, you're going to paint your background darker. You're not going to see any of this, but I wanted to paint it. And I also painted it because I had a beach scene on it, and you would be able to see that through the paper. And I didn't really think that would be like, that was not the look we were going for. I didn't want ocean butterflies. It's not a thing. It's totally not a thing. So like I said, the only thing I did to prep this canvas is I took a dry microfiber cloth and I just dusted it because it had been hanging in my house for a while. So I dusted it off to make sure there was no debris on it. And then I just gave one coat, like literally 20 minutes ago, with the chalk mineral paint. I used Midnight Sky, and then I just let it dry. I painted my edges because I wanted my edges to be dark. You can wrap your decoupage paper if you want to, or you can just use it to the edges. I'm just going to use it to the edges. And quite frankly, you can, this is a big decoupage paper, so I can use this paper. Oh, by the way, it would help if I told you what it was. So this is the new release of Vintage Butterflies from the Bells and Whistle line. And it's beautiful. I absolutely love this paper. I think it's so pretty. I love butterflies. I have a butterfly tattooed on the back of my neck. I love them so much. I wanted one with me forever. So here is the paper. It's, like I said, it's pretty huge. Okay. Ooh, you can't see it all. So it's got plenty of butterflies to choose from. And you can decide, I'm going to turn this sideways so I can reach it better. You can decide what part of the paper that you want. Like you can decide if you want it to do the corner on the edge like that and just have it like, it doesn't have to be perfect. And also it doesn't like, you don't have to make everything centered. So you could, if you wanted to, like center one butterfly and then have the rest of them kind of fall off the canvas, which is okay, which actually is super cute. What I decided I was going to do, the paper already came folded like this. And I really, it crazy enough, it fits perfect just like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut along these fold lines because that's actually the image that I want perfect on my little canvas, and then I can hang this up in my house. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to add some gold gilding wax after just to kind of like zhuzh it up just a little bit. So now there are a million different ways that you can decoupage. I'm going to show you guys the wet method. Can't talk today. You can use the iron-on method. You can use, like I said, a million and one different ways that you can decoupage. I'm going to show you what works for me because I'm going to give you the tools that I have available, and you can decide for yourself if that is something that you want to do or not. So like I said, I'm cutting just along the lines that are already folded because they actually ended up working out perfectly for my little canvas size. So is that going to happen every time? Definitely not. Am I cutting perfect? No, not even close. But it's decoupage. I'm going to sand my edges, make it a little rougher, and it's on a canvas that's going to go in my house, and it does not have to be perfect. But you know what it is? It's a lot cheaper than me going out and buying art, and it's going to look really beautiful on my wall. So I just want to double check to make sure that this is a good width before I get too crazy, because I can always take away. I cannot add more. Okay, so I'm going to go with that fold line. Okay, perfect. So it's gonna, you always want to overlap a little bit too. So you want to cut your decoupage paper a little bit bigger. You can, like I said, you can always take away. My cut lines are not going to be even. I've actually thought about getting a paper cutter for decoupage paper just so that I would have it easy. But then I realized that they are very expensive. So if you've ever been in the market for like an old school like paper cutter that they use in the elementary schools, they're very expensive. So my like $2 scissors in my hands, much cheaper. So I will cut bigger and I will accommodate for my imperfections. So we'll go with that. And it's going to be super cute. So let's just go ahead and we're going to continue to cut along this little line. Again, it is not perfect. I'm not making it perfect. It's okay. I don't strive for perfection. I just strive for good enough for me. And that is just what it has to be, good enough for me. All right, so now I'm going to come over here. I really love this flower. This flower makes me very happy. So I definitely want to use that in my piece. I'm going to cut as close to that line as possible on that fold line, because I want to use that part as my edge. I do love the florals with the butterflies, and I kind of like verbiage. I'm not usually a big person on verbiage, but I kind of really do like it with this. It's just enough. It's not like overpowering. Like it's like love and peace or all that, which is fine if you're into that thing. But for me, I just like it to be more subtle and kind of like background noise versus like the star of the show. Because the star of the show are these beautiful butterflies. I'm going to put my excess paper over here so I don't mess it up. And then we're going to go ahead. And now I'm just going to go. I'll turn it around so you guys can see. I want to make sure that this is where I want all of that flower on there. So if I have extra, that's fine. And like I said, it does not have to be centered. It can be any way you want it to be. If you are one of those people that has to have things centered, by all means, center it. When I'm hanging something on my wall, I kind of need that, but anything else in my life, I really don't care. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to just do a little fold line. And I'm going to do another little fold line over here, just so I kind of have an idea of where I need to map this out once I take this off. Okay, so now I'm going to take this off. I'm going to set that right there. Put my scissors not on top of me. And I am going to put gloves on because I don't like to mess up my fingernails, and clear coat sticks to my fingernails like nobody's business, and it drives me bananas. So I am not going to do that. I'm going to wear gloves. You don't have to. I like to wear gloves. I am going to be using Dixie Belle Satin Clear Coat for my medium. And you can use any kind of top coat you want to. I just choose the Dixie Belle Satin Clear Coat. It's my favorite to use. When I'm doing the iron-on method, I use Gator Hide. I will put a coat underneath and a coat on top. I call that the top coat sandwich, and we'll get to that in just a second. So I'm just going to use, what do I have here today? I have paint all over it, so I can't see what it is. I have the flat medium. All right, so we're just going to give it a good little mist. As you guys know, I will mist all of my paintbrushes and I'll work that water in just to make sure if there's any debris or dust or anything that got left behind when I was cleaning my brush, that it is no longer in there. And I feel like when you have your brush just a little bit damp, it makes it easier for your product to move around. All right, so let me slide that over. I'm going to just grab my brush. We're going to dip in. Now, we are not worried about like when you're painting and it's perfect and seamless. We literally are just putting this on as thick as possible so that our decoupage paper has something to stick to. All right, so you're going to see me just put it on all willy-nilly, crazy lady style. Way different than when I would if I was actually applying this to a piece of furniture. When I'm applying it to a piece of furniture, I want it to be perfect and no brush marks. Here, I'm using it as glue. So I want to make sure that it's really wet. Otherwise, I'm not going to have enough product on there for my decoupage paper to stick. And it'll dry out. right. Again, I'm just making sure make sure you get your edges. The edges are super important. Don't worry if you get a little on the edge. You'll worry about that later. But you want to really make sure that your edges are covered and that you have ample amount of product all over your piece that you are going to be applying your decoupage paper to so that your decoupage paper can stick. I feel like you guys can't see. Let me slide this back a little. All right, so this is just what I do. You do not have to do this. I missed my decoupage paper because I feel like if it has a little bit of water in it, it's going to absorb better of the product now. And then I feel it also moves around a little bit easier. I'm not saturating this. I'm just misting it just a little bit just so that it's easier for me to maneuver. Okay. And now I'm going to lay this down exactly where I want it. You could pick this up. You can move it a million different times. The paper is good. It's very, very forgiving. As you see, I keep moving it. All right, I'm going to decide where I'm going to work on my edge first. I'm deciding where I want my edge to be. I feel like that's good. So now I'm just going to very carefully use my fingers. You can use a brayer. You can use whatever you want. I will just use my fingers. You can also use the backside of a sanding pad. Let me show you that. You can use the backside of a sanding pad. The Dixie Belle has the foam sanding pads. You can use those as well. Fingers work. This is all I'm doing. It's just taking my fingers very carefully. And I'm just smoothing out. And if I find myself along a wrinkle, I'm just very carefully pulling it into the directions that I want it to go in to get it out. Okay, like I said, I will work in real small area. And you don't worry about creases. If you are worried about them, it's fine. It's decoupage paper. It's not supposed to be perfect. If you are worried about it, you might want to try the iron-on method. That is less creasy. Creasy, is that a word? I feel like that's not a word. You guys know I like to make up my own words. All right, and so we are just very, very carefully just picking up and moving this out. This is why I said you guys need to make sure you have a lot of product underneath your paper. Your canvas is also going to bend, okay, because it's a canvas. So we're just very lightly taking our hands, our gloved hands. Well, mine are gloved because I don't want this on my hands. And we're just pulling to get it nice and smooth in all different directions. My dryer singing a song. Does your guys' dryer sing a song? Mine sings like a whole, it's literally like almost like a 2-minute song. Okay, I'm exaggerating. It's not 2 minutes, but it really is. It sings like this whole big song. Okay, I have some creases in here. Like I said, you can just take your fingers, smooth them out. Your canvas is going to bend. It's going to move around. But for the most part, I'm just getting the bigger creases out. Okay, we're going to pull down this way. If you feel like see how it's dry? So I'm going to take, because I've lifted this thing up like 9 million times. So we're just going to take some more, and you can do that. Put more product down. And I'm just going to very carefully lay that down. And now I'm going to smooth it out. I just tore my paper a little bit, but that's okay. Let me take my glove off. If you tear your paper, you can very easily fix it. I'm going to show you how. You just kind of smush it back down. Come on. All right, there. All right, I am going to show you how to fix that. So I'm going to line that up as best as I can, just with my fingers, just like that. And I'm going to take another piece of the decoupage paper and lay it over it, and you'll never even be able to tell. So that's how you can repair your decoupage paper as well. Okay. And I'm just going to smooth out my corner. All right. Put my gloves back on. Put my gloves back on. All right. Again, like I said, I have a little area that I'm going to repair. I'm going to show you how to do that. Super easily. All right. So that's that right there, right? And then here's my little spot I'm going to show you how to fix. So I'm going to take my back off now that I don't have to use those. Just a second. Take those off. I am going to cut the bottom of this because there's like perfect line of verbiage right here. All right. And cut right there. Get off of there. Cut right here. Cut down here. We're just going to line this up. I'm trying to cut straight. Cutting straight as possible. Okay, so I could do that, or I could get a piece that matches, whichever. How do I feel like sticking there? And it doesn't even have to be that. You could stick whatever you want there. I'll do this sometimes. Like I like to overlap. Ooh, let's do that. I like to overlap my decoupage paper. Okay, remember how I said I really love the flowers? I think I'm gonna plop a flower right there. So it's just like transfers. You know how you can overlap your transfers? You can definitely overlap your decoupage paper as well. So I'm gonna cut just a little bit more. And I'm just gonna stick this guy right here. Sorry, I'm being really quiet. I'm trying to cut in a straight line. Clearly, I'm doing a great job at it. All right, let's try one more time over here. So don't ever feel like you can't just fix your mistakes or make them your own. Like I totally will overlap my entire transfers, and I'm gonna put gold gilding wax on this thing too to make it like pretty. So it doesn't have to be exactly what it is. Okay, like I really like that flower. So if you really like a flower somewhere, plop a flower down, mix it up, change it however you want it to. All right, I'm gonna stick this right here, and it's gonna cover my little boogered up mess that I did. And then you can layer stuff everywhere. Like if I want to layer another flower over here, where's my other flower? Like there's these pretties too. Like this corner, I really like those flowers right there in that corner. So I might want to add them over here. You can definitely do that. So let's do that. So I'm going to cut more decoupage paper super carefully. I'm going to cut my fingers. That's next. All right. Cut, 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 cut. And I really like vintage vibes. Like my house is like modern Gothic. So it's like all the pretty vintage vibes of like the butterflies and dark purples. I just painted my fireplace in aubergine, which came out amazing. I'm super in love with it. Okay. See, like I can just totally stick this in this corner right here, right this way. So we're just going to cut to do it evenly. There's a bend in my paper. So don't feel like you're married to just exactly what you have. Like make it your own. Do whatever you want to it. You can also, which I might even do, is stencil over this. So I can put my decoupage paper however I want, let it dry, and then I can put a stencil over top of it too. So don't feel like you have to just use what's here. I'm going to put that in this corner, just like that. All right, so let's cut some more evenly this way. And if you want it to look tethered, you could use the wet method, which is where you just kind of spray it and you pull your edges so it's more tethered. So it gives it that more like even more of a vintage vibe. Like I really like that. I think that's gonna look really pretty right there. Okay. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm going to wet this area with my satin clear coat. And I'm getting it everywhere, it's fine, because I'm gonna put satin clear coat over top of all of this anyway, so it's not a big deal. cut my edge because I think I don't want to overlap the edge too much. All right. So now I'm going to line this up at the bottom. I'm just going to take my fingers, my gloved fingers, because I don't like the way it feels on my fingers. I'm so weird, you guys. I know I can't help it. I don't like sticky on my fingers. It drives me bananas. All right. So now I'm just rubbing that how I want it to be. Take this off. And see if there's any other things that I want to overlap in here. There's a flower. I have more flowers down here. If I wanted to do like maybe the postage note or something like that, I could do that. But I kind of like the way that's flowing for right now. I'm just going to smooth out. I just dropped that on the floor. Smooth out some of these creases. Not a big deal. All right. Remove my little scrappy scrap pieces off and over. And now that I've got that laid down, I'm going to show you guys first before I top coat over top of it. So that's what she looks like so far. And now I'm going to take my top coat, because remember what I said about top coat sandwich? You want to put top coat underneath it and you want to put top coat on top of it. All right. And so you're just going to rub your top coat all over, and that's going to seal her in like magic. She will have some creases in her because she's a canvas. There's no way I could get this extremely flat. Furniture is a little easier. Canvas can be a little tricky. It's okay. I'm not really worried about it. I like it. If you really are worried about it afterwards, when this dries, you can take some, one of the sanding foam pads, and you can use your sand foamer and you can distress it a little bit. So you'll take out those creases and you'll give it more of a vintage vibe than it already has. All right. I'm just going to smooth that on down. I'm going to try to see if I can get this with the heat gun for just a second so that I can get it dry enough to do some of the gold gilding wax on it. I may or may not be able to. We'll see. Sometimes you can rush things, sometimes you can't. Sometimes it's like, no, we're not doing that today. I just don't want it to bubble. Decoupage paper can be funny sometimes. All right, this is lifting already. And you'll know, like, you'll just make sure all your edges are down. Like I just noticed that my edge was not adhered. So you just lift it right back up and you just put more top coat on it and it'll be fine. Do not do this at home. Do not rush your decoupage paper to dry with a heat gun. I'm doing this because I'm going live with you guys and I want to show you a next step. Please don't do this at home. Allow it. The product recommendations are on there for a reason. A lot of the times you'll see us going live, so we have to rush things so that we can show you all of the steps. I'm just trying to get it just dry enough so that I can put a stencil on top of it. Without it ripping, which still may be questionable. All right. Come on. All right, there we go. I'm going to give that a second because I feel like I'm cooking it. We're going to come over here. All right. I'm going to let that dry for just a second. Let me grab my stencil. I want to use, hold on with me 1 second, guys. Bear with me. Uno momento, por favor. All right. I am looking for my vintage wallpaper stencil because she's so pretty and she's my favorite and I love her. All right. Royal Damask. That's the one I want. So this is one of my favorite stencils that they have. I love her so much. She's definitely beautiful. You want to use that or the, no, I want to use this one. Okay, I was going to use this one or the little boho one, but I like her. Okay, so what we can do is you can lay this over, right? And we're just going to put it in just a little bit of the areas, not all of it. We're just going to add a smidge of bling. Very muted. Cannot emphasize that. Very, 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 very. I like to use the Dixie Belle artist brushes. They're like one of my favorites. I use them for everything. I'm offloading on my lid, so I'm dipping in, then I'm offloading on my lid. Now I'm trying to decide where I just want some, not a lot. Make sure there's not a lot on here. Okay, and so I'm just going to dab very, very lightly. Again, this is still pretty wet, so I want to be careful. But I just want to add one little more layer of texture to this. And I'm not going to put it everywhere. I'm just going to put it in this corner. And the corners that are the darkest is where I'm going to put it because you'll be able to see it the most. And again, I'm just very lightly dabbing. I know you can't probably see from that angle. I'll pull it up so you guys can see. Okay. I'm going to overlap it over here. And then I'm going to do this corner over here. So basically this whole, I guess that would be my left side over here. I need some more wax. She is running dry. I can't have that. I will not remove this off my stencil for whom is going to ask. I know someone's going to. I will not. I will leave it on my stencil. It will not affect for the next time that I use it. The only time I really clean my stencils, and this is so bad, I will only clean my stencils is if it's like super, super caked up paint on here. Other than that, I'll just take like a rag and just wipe it off when I'm done using it. Like I'll spray it with water and just wipe it down. And that's usually enough for me. Again, I'm just dabbing in my lid to offload everything. And then what I've offloaded, I go back and repick up and not dip back into my container, if that makes sense. Okay. Some of this is still pretty wet. It's not doing what I want it to do, but it's okay. For YouTube purposes, it's just fine. Okay, let me get this little corner. Okay, anywhere else, I do want to do the whole butterfly. And so I'm just going to try to match that back up best as I can. So the butterfly is black, and I kind of like that over the butterfly, you're going to be able to see this little bit of stenciling over top of it. And I'm kind of just like, I'm not using, like, I'm using a little bit of each shape here. So I'm kind of just like fading it out so it's not like super concentrated in one area. I'll take pictures of this when it's hanging on my wall. It's going to look really pretty. Okay, and then maybe in this middle area, just a little bit. Maybe down here on the edges. Maybe on this edge just a little bit. Just over these flowers a little. In that corner. That one has a flower. So we're just kind of using it just a little bit. All right, there's that side. Now we're going to come on over here to this side. It is going to be a little heavier in areas, lighter in others. Kind of like it that way. It's going to look super cute. Okay, before I get like all stencil crazy, I think that's good enough. All right. All right, let me show you guys up close what she looks like. So you can see just a little bit of that bling from the stencil. What do you guys think? I think that's really pretty. And I do want to do more. I lied. So, and the beauty with this is you don't have to make it perfect. So if I want to like, I don't know, I kind of want to put more in this corner. So I literally am just going to lay it down however I feel like it. If I want to match it up, I can. If I don't have to, since I'm just kind of using it wherever, it doesn't have to match up perfectly. You just kind of rub it wherever you feel like having a little bit of blingy bling. Because it's not like you're doing a fairy or something like that. So the shape doesn't have to be as perfect as you want it to be. It's just one more level of texture, just a little extra bling. If I'm missing your comments, I'm sorry. Okay. All right. Do I want anywhere else? I feel like now is the point where I should stop, because if I do any more, I'm gonna be like, I'm not sure if I like it anymore. So I'm gonna put my stencil down, put my lid back up on my gold gilding wax. I'm gonna let this dry, and then I'm gonna take my sandpaper to my edges very lightly and just kind of sand it off. But here she is. Okay, you see how dark it is underneath there? That's kind of what I was wanting. That's why I wanted the black underneath. So all these edges right here, I'll sand off with just the little Dixie Belle sanding pad. So here you go. You have some like little extra bling. This was very beachy and very boring. And now it is like super cute and super exciting. I love her. So it was a little quick impromptu, but I wanted to show you how you could make over any of your home decor items with Dixie Belle. Find you a decoupage paper that you like, grab a canvas that you already have, or if you're at Goodwill, find a big canvas because they're super cheap. They're like 11 bucks. If you go to like Michael's, they're gonna be like 50. So get you a cheap one. Have some fun. Use a little bit of extra stuff that you have lying around. You can even use like all your little scrap pieces, like save all your little scrap pieces and then like build your own like collage. That's always fun too. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial today. Thank you so much. Again, my name is Teresa at NTS Design Co. I'd be honored if you gave my page a follow, and I will catch you guys live here Wednesday next week at 10 a.m. on the Dixie Belle Paint page on YouTube. Bye, you guys. Have a wonderful day.